back to Game of Who. What we did in the name of reason and sanity, but not in the name of a Doctor Who Game of Thrones podcast.
Because you're 100% correct. This is not the Game of Who that you might know. This is our
come on,
special.
Dude. I had a whole bit planned.
Go ahead.
Finish you interrupted the Jew.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, I'm Jordan, and these are my regenerations in this time. See, I had this whole bit worked out, and you just fucking shat on it.
You see what happens when you don't inform people of shit?
Well, you usually let me finish the fucking sentence.
Let people know.
So which one are you? Are you the War Doctor?
I am the War Doctor.
And so that would make you Tenet.
Works for me. I love the
damn
Tenet.
it, I gotta be the forehead, don't I?
You gotta be the chin.
The chin. Chin-chinity, chin-chinity.
And you know who's not making an appearance in this latest episode of Doctor Who? Christopher Eccleston.
Dr. Eccleston?
Dr. Eccleston.
Was he too busy making with the movies in America?
He was too busy making this piece of crap.
Yes.
So I have an appropriate cup for this instance. So
Brilliant.
This week's episode was
this special episode because this is special.
It is special. Yep. It's the 50th anniversary.
Fishy-ish?
50th.
Fishy-ish.
50th anniversary of Doctor Who, which means we could have had a reunion from all the various doctors. In fact, there was a little BBC thing that Ven you pointed me towards, starring Sylvester McCoy and I forget who the other two were, but doctors. It was like 7th Doctor, 6th Doctor, 5th Doctor.
It was a bit brilliant, and actually the only part that made me clap, stand up, laugh like retard seal was when Captain Jack showed up with his dark secret.
Yep.
I still need to watch it. I saw the one bit where they all crawl into the TARDIS, and it's like, it's just a wooden box.
So let's get started.
It's not the real TARDIS.
Let's just imagine our first scene. We were watching this, and like the first memorable bit is the TARDIS being dragged over the Thames by a helicopter, and you can't spin it round like a helicopter because TARDIS doesn't. Well, the Doctor doesn't like to be picked up, eh?
No, he doesn't.
Apparently not.
If you've learned anything from his previous incarnations, he doesn't like getting picked up. Well, that's a lie, as we find out several minutes later.
Yeah. He seemed to have enjoyed the ride a little too much.
Well, I kind of I think it was overplayed because it's like, I'm falling. No, I'm falling. Nope, I'm falling again.
Well, that wasn't necessarily the ride I was talking about, but sure.
Giggity. So he lands, and guess what? It's our old friend's unit, Giggity.
Led by Lethbridge Stewart Jr.
Yep.
Yeah. And girl with 4th Doctor scarf.
Yep, she was going Full Metal Baker, and I was like, oh, there's no way that could possibly tie into anything like that. Cool.
And they had to make Matt Smith comment on it, just like,
nice scarf.
Yeah, bit of fan play.
This episode is chock fan service.
Yeah, a lot of jerking off old-time fans, but not really answering the question. But we do need to talk about, something that we've been talking about interpersonally for a while is hurt, right?
Yep. You know what? I was honestly a little surprised with his portrayal of the Doctor, because he was supposed to be like all grim, yet the Night of the Doctor's like, who do you want to be? Warrior. So I was expecting like some fucking badass asshole John Hurt motherfucker coming in and like owning everyone, but no, he's very, very old doctor-y, if I might say so.
Well, honestly, he kind of harkens back to a very posh Doctor.
Yeah, like before the 2000 series, all the Doctors acted in like sort of the same posh way, and it's like, it's a scientific instrument. What are you gonna do? Assemble a cabinet
at them?
But yeah, in a way, it makes sense. It's the transition between the poshness and Eccleston.
Who is absent aside from one small scene.
Which,
That's stock footage.
They had to CGI that shit in there.
Oh man!
But all right, step 2. We're in the under gallery, and they've wait. No, hang on. And we had the time vortex open up. War Doctor. He has his the moment, and it doesn't have a big red button at this point. But he wants that. Then. Then the only actor that I've ever known throughout Doctor who acts with her teeth shows up.
No, they don't have a big red fucking button. They have a big red tomato. Man, Billie Piper has not aged well from like 2005.
Yeah, how do you look that bad with that much makeup on is still beyond me.
You can see the creases in her face as she tries to emote.
But she acts with her teeth. I was happy when she's like, no, not Rose, Bad Wolf. And I was like, oh, giddy, you tied it all back in and do something with that.
God damn it.
So, are you afraid of the big bad wolf, Doctor?
Then we do the whole time vortex. It's like, our attempt at clever writing, because this is the 50th and we can't cock it up. But then fast forward, Tennant is shagging Elizabeth
the first.
Yeah. But is she a Silurian? No, not a Silurian, no. What the fuck were they called again? Zygons.
Zygon.
It was the horse.
Now I get that humor.
Yeah.
What about you, P-Man? Do you understand?
It's the horse. The horse.
Right.
Just don't give it a lick because it'll steal your shape. But anyways, after a brief outing and a conflict with some bunny rabbits, the three finally sort of collide together in a stew of herdy, tenanty smithiness.
Now we had the penis mash contest. It was like, what are you compensating for? Like,
regeneration.
You know that.
Get it? Because it's a screwdriver. Get it?
Zing. So that was the thing. I was like, all right, fair enough. Then we're talking back to the impossible girl, Clara. And he's like, oh, make with the wicked witch or whatever. And she's like,
yeah, what he said.
Yeah, basically. Go take us to the Tower of London, and apparently that's where
I do like how they actually took advantage of the fact of like the whole time travel thing in this episode. Where it's like, oh yeah, we'll leave a message in the past that'll get found in the future. Oh, we have 3 people from 3 different time points. Let's do something. Let's set something in motion 40 years ago.
Wait a minute. Here's my big the huge paradox it was going to cause for the last episode of the last series to go to Translaw. The TARDIS was like, nope. And it was like, oh no, this is fine. Bad Wolf is doing it right. The moment can
subvert the time lock.
Because
it wasn't time locked because they were all there.
Well, later on, yes, that's a direct quote. I mean, Bad Wolf let them through the time lock because it fucking felt like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So where do we move on from this point? You know, there's
no. Because you bring up a good point. Because what the fuck happened on Trenzalore? Because we kind of end at the what I did in the name of reason and sanity, but not in the name of the
You misheard. He did it in the name of raisins.
Raisins and sanity.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Dried grapes are quite compelling, but we're kind of just left at that point. And then all of a sudden, 50th anniversary, and
John
we get no explanation for how they got out of that.
Yeah, and, you know, Clara jumped in the time stream. But go ahead, P-Man. Sounds like you're going to say what I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's the whole time stream thing in Transalore. It's technically the time stream is just the exposed core of the TARDIS. It's time itself. So if you enter your time stream, you're technically going back into your life. So technically, Clara gets split into all the different incarnations of
Like
Clara,
the Great
like
Intelligence.
Miss Montague, and yeah. And the Doctor basically goes back to his own timeline, which technically makes encountering himself or the past incarnations of himself not as big a paradox as it would have been
as
before.
wonderfully chock full of nerdy bullshit as that is, they didn't say anything about that at all.
Nope, it just happened.
They kind of
because
just dodged
reason.
it.
So there is that. That was one of the things that bugged me about this episode, because they kind of left us at a cliffhanger and then ignored the cliffhanger. But anyways, so they're trapped in the Tower of London.
The whole thing with the screwdrivers, that would have come in handy a long time ago in a bunch of different episodes.
No, I thought that was a bit clever, but you had to have all three of them together because one was 1200. One was 400 years
one
prior.
was 900 and the other one was 500 or
It's like, all right, that's a bit clever bit of writing. Then it's straight off. It's like, oh, Clara opens the door.
It's like, why wasn't it locked? Yeah, why wasn't it locked? Because I wanted to see what you would do. And now that there are three of you, I like how she clearly admits that. So we discover that the Silurians. Or not the Silurians, the Zygons. The Zygons are hiding soldiers in paintings to come out in the future. And so in that scene, something really weird happens. Queen Elizabeth is like, "'Cause I am the real queen. These idiots thought I was their commander." Why didn't they all just turn around and start attacking her?
Because reason.
Because there wasn't the ones that were close to her
in the name
were
of
out of
brazen
earshot.
insanity.
They were at the bottom of the pit, so they couldn't hear her.
Sure. Maybe. There was like a Zygon Zygon right next to her when she said that too. So
then we deal with the point with all the dust in the statue room, and I was like, "Oh, please be weeping angels."
Oh yeah, for a brief second there, I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna pull this out." Full fucking Doctor Who nerdgasm.
Yeah, I guess everyone at that point's like, yes, weeping angels, yes. And when
nope.
And Matt even says, in 1200 years, I've never stepped on anything that wasn't. I'm like, yes,
important.
Yes. But then no.
Fucking Zygons.
But then Tom Baker's love child, she figures out. Oh. Go ahead.
Yes. No. This I was agreeing with you.
Rare instance. You have to excuse our momentary pause.
Yeah. No. Also a rare instance that a Doctor Who side character actually makes an intelligent decision.
Yep.
It's like, because basically all the plots of every Doctor Who episode is everyone is a fucking moron except the Doctor and possibly the Master or the Rani or whoever the friggin' villain is. So it's nice to see some intelligence coming from like the side characters who are supposed to be like scientists. And
well, I'm not saying it's a great intelligence.
Not a great. It's an okay intelligence, not a great intelligence.
Yeah, they didn't even touch on that one.
Nope, because they got a Xmas episode.
Oh yeah, they still have to introduce Capaldi, but we'll talk more about Capaldi.
We still have a ways to go in the episode.
Yeah.
So as it turns out, Bad Wolf sent John Hurt into the future as a test to basically say, oh, are you gonna actually blow up all the Time Lords and all the Daleks? And Matt Smith and David Tennant are all looking at him like, oh, you.
No, am I right, or if I'm wrong? But doctors existing anywhere near each other could cause a paradox that would collapse the entire fucking.
What, like the other 12 times this thing's happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, the moment doesn't
including that crossover with EastEnders.
So apparently, Bad Wolf can do what the fuck all it wants.
Part of the TARDIS plot hole, whatever.
It's the most powerful weapon in the universe. Its operating system is so advanced it developed a conscience of its own.
And it's also based off of Windows ME.
I do like the concept of what they said, with the generals, they weren't Time Lords, but the generals of Gallifrey. And they go, what would we do? I mean, try to instigate war was something that would judge us. Yeah.
When was this?
No, it was the whole thing. It was like, well, why haven't we ever used the instance? It was like, well, what do you think would happen?
The Galaxy Devourer. Only one man has the gall.
When they go to the vault,
Right.
and could you really use a weapon that would pass judgment against your actions?
One man could.
But, so where are we at? Where are we at this point?
So
we've talked about the tower and
War Doctor goes back
girl
in time.
figuring out that the statue dust is because the Zygons were looking for somewhere to hide.
So somebody is locking up unit. Souffle Girl has just walked in to
the Black Archives.
Yes.
That's a building that is completely TARDIS proof and contains Captain Jack's vortex manipulator.
Nobody ate chicken in there.
Oh, and yeah, they mentioned that Captain Jack is dead.
One of his deaths.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he donated it to it, but, don't give it to Americans because you've seen their movies.
Yep. Okay, the Abaddon episode was actually not that bad, but that was the only one. Son of the Beast. Big white dog.
Yeah. So then it turns out that everyone around is very old cliches. Like, we're all the aliens.
Everyone's a duplicate. So let's make it so that no one can remember who they are, because that's how that particular technology works.
Yeah, apparently this overwhelming force is thoroughly stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Souffle Girl was like, beep, 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 boom. Then she opens the door.
She opens, oh yes. They have that little clever bit with the time travel and the whole, it's 400 years worth of processing time that we can basically just abuse.
Yep.
So,
like I said, that would have already come in handy in a number of different episodes.
Yes.
Imagine the early doctors scanning like the Cybermen or the Dalek armor and having those calculations left running on the so-called sonic screwdriver, which apparently is connected to the...
And is apparently quantum entangled to the TARDIS, because that particular sonic screwdriver has been destroyed numerous times.
And then when it comes back, it's still running the same calculations, so... Good times.
Well, I bet you the sonic screwdriver is running Linux, so he just included a prolonged calculation driver.
Just had to push it upstream. Then Souffle Girl jumps back, then what happens, J-Man?
What happens? So, the Zygons have taken the forms of the unit officers in the Black Archives, but then the unit officers show up, and there's a standoff. They try to blow up the place with a nuclear warhead, but then the doctors arrive using the same trick that the Zygons have been using, and some clever time travel-y, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly crap. Yep. And so they erase everyone's memory so that no one can remember who is a human and who is a Zygon. Although any one of them could just try and turn back into a Zygon, and that would settle that once and for all.
They'll make the most perfect of treaties and the neediest of Deus Ex Machina. Oh, go ahead.
Oh man,
it's the most fair treaty ever.
So Baker Girl and Clone Baker Girl, who should have had a goatee, in my opinion.
Yes,
have a little touching moment where they share their inhaler, and then that means that peace is restored between the Zygons and the humans. But there's one thing left to do: the Time War.
Well, they go through the whole thing, that whole scene, remember back when that phone call was made, and it was like, check your phone for who you are. It was like, right. And then we get treated to that scene.
I'm a time traveler, get on with it.
We get treated to that. We get treated to that scene, and, the Time Lord art. Well, there's no longer just one doctor, but there's all three, and it zooms around, and I was like, it kind of gives me a bit of a chubby.
Just
I kind of saw that the doctor calling him. He pulls out his phone, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's the doctor. That is clearly a
That
Chekhov
was
stuff.
the only reason to even make that particular scene that relevant.
Yeah. No, and then they show when they walk into the Black Archives, they have like 2 seconds of showing Gallifrey Falls no more, the fucking Time Lord painting. And it's like, yeah, okay, I know a Chekhov's gun when I see one. This is being set up.
Jordan.
What?
I'm sorry about the Dalek.
Oh yeah, the Dalek. That would. You know what? We could have used some more Daleks in this episode.
Explain.
Explain
the plot.
What these words mean.
It makes no sense.
Apparently, Moffat
I like
cut the
how
scene
for
with
how
the,
advanced the Time Lords are. They are certainly getting their ass kicked.
What?
I like how for how advanced the Time Lords are. Like they're not putting up a better defense against the Daleks with like super advanced weapons.
Well, the whole
it's a laser bazooka.
Well, actually, the whole backstory is the Time Lords. I mean, if you keep track of like the audio plays and all that, they're used to using time as a weapon. They had to go back in time to get weaponry to even do this.
Because Daleks' time travel canceled out their time travel.
Pretty much.
And so forth. Well, that's interesting. But anyways, so they escape. They unite the Zygons and the humans in peace and love, with lots and lots of clone making out of. But then War Doctor and Oz to the Wind have a little heart to heart. You're younger. I can see it in your eyes.
What were your thoughts on
that? Again, this could be the effect of Clara splitting herself between the Doctor's timeline and actually allowing the moment to use her to get hurt.
Bad Wolf was there.
Do the right thing, yeah.
Well, Bad Wolf is omnipresent, existing at all points of space and time, so...
Technically, yeah. So... when the...
that's literally what it is.
He's ready.
Like, the TARDIS is the way out. It is literally God in the machine.
All right, before we continue with this, what do you think about Hurt taking the moment so far away from the TARDIS? It's like, oh, you didn't want her to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? That's a nice little throwback to the whole the TARDIS is actually a sentient computer thing.
The Doctor's wife.
Yeah, he's the TARDIS is the Doctor's wife, and he doesn't want her to see him do something horrible. But she knows because wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Timey wimey?
Stupid idea. What do you kids come up with this?
I've never. I don't know where he gets these things.
Shut up, Sandshoes.
Sandshoes and Granddad are going to the Tower of London. From a guy who wears Sandshoes. They're not Sandshoes. Oh, yes, they are.
So we fast forward ourselves, and we're back at a big red button.
Well, he did ask for a big red button.
But that's what the Bad Wolf said. You did ask for it.
And then she says that the sound of the TARDIS brings hope to whomever hears it, including the Doctor.
And then Rudolph's nose went bright and Frosty came to life. and
pretty much.
I don't know. John McClane shot Hans
and then it went
bum
bum bum bum bum bum bum bum bum. Then two more TARDISes showed up. Right.
Yep.
And then there was the episode took this weird turn where they all just started kissing each other.
You know when they got
kind of
naked.
hot.
Yeah, I'm with it.
You know what? I wasn't expecting that.
I was just like, push the button. I was like, push close it. All right, push the button.
It's like
then...
extended sex scene and then push button. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was at. But they ended up, God, not pushing the button.
No, because they have all of them, all 13 of them.
No, originally they only had 3 of them, and they thought they could do it with just 3.
Explain this plan.
So, actually, it's Smith that comes up with it, isn't it?
Because he's had 400 years to think about it.
Yeah, because Clara is...
Then retroactively, somehow, it travels back in time, and they all get the idea.
Yeah. So Clara sees Matt Smith about to push the button, and she's like, I always knew you'd done it, but I never actually think I'd see you do it. So then Matt Smith kind of comes up with the idea, and then Hurt gets the same idea.
Oh!
And then
it's just
Tennant's
one big
like,
fest.
I'm getting that too. Oh.
And then John Hurt's
So
off.
they all-
Then they dial up the fucking Time Lords. Well,
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently, the moment
You can just
calls
message them
all
on
the
Facebook.
doctors.
it was the Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker.
And they put that down. They're like, oh, here's the thing. And then they go through this whole elaborate
These
thing.
calculations would take hundreds of years.
But how many doctors do we have?
We have all the doctors. All doctors all the time.
All 13 of them,
Even the
apparently.
future ones.
And they solved the business. Go ahead.
Then they were just 12 doctors. Because when the TARDIS started coming in and the stock footage of all the other doctors started showing up in the war room, they're
My
like,
next trick.
all 12 of them. And then Capaldi comes in with the single most psycho look I've ever seen on a doctor's face.
Was that Capaldi's eyebrows? Because I don't really stare at his face all that much. But Pedro, you might be the expert on that.
No, it's just the way he looks is like 13.
Yeah, no, he's. Even though he's been announced, we can't see his face just yet. That's for the Christmas episode.
So, which was one of the. Like, yeah, all right, I'm good with this. When you see all the TARDISes start forming around Gallifrey, and I was like, yeah, all right, that's kind of cool.
Whatever. It's like fucking nerd chills.
Yeah.
They're time travelers. They could literally do that for any problem they encounter.
So Gallifrey is saved in the painting that they've been talking about this entire
It's
time.
time locked. Now, then we fast forward and all that. It gets
Wait, hold on. Does that mean that Timothy Dalton at the end of time was doing everything from the painting? Bam!
Opens up a whole...
Bam! I don't want to go.
So we get back and
we gotta-
everyone's having a proper cup of tea, right?
Yes.
And we're all talking, and it's like, oh, the Gallifrey. What was it? Gallifrey
falls no more.
no more.
Hi, Tom Baker. How's it going? I haven't seen you since the Warhammer movie.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's weird because, current Smith doctor says, I'm thinking about retiring.
And maybe you should.
And I'll be a great curator.
I'll be the great curator.
Didn't this old
Maybe you
dude
will.
that I've never seen before, I have no idea who he is, and he,
Hi, Tom Baker.
he pretends that it's like, winky face. Maybe you will become, and use your old faces. Oh, the familiar ones, that is.
The old favorites.
The old favorites. Yeah. The curator. I guess
I'm like that was kind of random because it's like no other doctor actually showed up, and it's just like, oh, hi, Tom Baker. You're here. Are we gonna do something
basically
cool?
it's
I guess
a
that's kind of
doctor telling the current doctor what to do.
Nope, that's the doctor way in the future.
Way in the future.
He revisits some of the old faces.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't know.
At the end of the day, take a shot.
Take a shot.
It wasn't bad, but I was expecting a bit more out of the back of my head, from having my brain organ destroyed. I followed this too well, I believe.
It was a good Doctor Who episode, granted, but it's not exactly
it more than makes
50th.
up for this last season for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, again,
definitely.
James, I mean, we talked about this. I honestly believe the last episode of last series kind of gave last series a 20% pass in my book, and it's like, all right, but I don't like the fact that they've negated the Great Intelligence because he's Christmas.
Oh,
Of course not.
No.
Counter-active
Actually, no.
greater
This
intelligence.
Christmas, the Silence are back. The Silence, the Daleks, and the Cybermen.
Now, one of my favorite theories, crackpot theories, is that that Hurt didn't regenerate into Eccleston, which we saw in the New Who Series 1. In fact, he regenerated into the original Doctor.
No, because we see McGann regenerate into him in Night of the Doctor.
When the time stream
he outright mentions before he regenerates, I hope the ears are in control in this one, which is a clear reference to fucking Eccleston's Dumbo-esque flappers on the side of his head. I mean, if he holds his breath and tries really, really hard, I think Eccleston could actually get some lift. But
I believe I can fly.
Exactly. But how about that fucking last shot with all the creepy CG doctors and you got like creepy Tom Baker going,
doctors.
Yeah, that was a bit cardboardy, wasn't it?
Oh man, why did they think that would even be a good effect? I guess they kind of had to do it for the 50th, but could you maybe have put a little more of the budget in there?
No, they should have all been marching with
I'm gonna fight them off.
Yes.
Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back.
That I would have meddled the hell out to.
Oh man, if it ended on that would be like, oh okay, I just came.
Yeah.
Yep. You win.
Congratulations. Even if it just goes completely downhill, like you've won me over with that.
That would have won. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm going to Wichita. You know what? And you know what? We're going to go back to our respective time streams because I think we made it to the end of this episode of Game of Who.
So you are actually the War Doctor because you have the coat on.
I am the War Doctor. And over here we have, David Tennant. Yeah, it's a short 10 inches. And over here we have the chin, Mr. Venstone.
The forehead.
The forehead and the chin.
Oh, hi.
I'm Jordan Svung. He's Pedro Mateus. You can find us at Venstone, at Pedro.
You can find us at Venstone.
At The Burning Fool, whatever. Fucking read our title cards.
We are Game of Who, and we'll be back for the Christmas special, gentlemen.
Indeed. And then we'll be back for the premiere of Game of Thrones.
Giggity.